organizers for the invitation to that meeting. Thank you. Research in graphic design and graphic design and research is such a clever title. I could miss. It suggests, obviously, a dual-point viewpoint on the topic. My reading is sort of similar to Lucian. I think that it suggests that we see here a continuum rather than dichotomy. It's a sort of a strange look of research and design instead of being in a situation of platonic opposites. My title, my presentation, is not clever. It's design research is design practice, which means that it describes precisely its core concept. My intent is to argue that what designers do today is a way of inquiry and knowing, and therefore the core of design is similar to the goals of research. Today designers, when they design, they research, or at least should. That's my point. I would try to map design intelligence as well, and that was a very ambitious plan, I must say, considering that I have only 30 minutes to deliver. So I will be exploring the topic by my lists of concepts related to the topic of the conference. Sort of pecha kucha, but instead of beautiful images, I will torture you with text. By doing that, I will try to describe where I come from. I'm an educator. I come from Dynamic Media Institute, and I would like to share with you our approach to a rigorous practice of research in our curriculum. I was looking to start with something really, really profound. And I was researching the definition of research. I came up with one by Bruce Archer in 1981. Research is systematic inquiry, the goal of which is knowledge. It's great. It's such a generic that it borders line with being meaningless. I found another group of interesting propositions here which I think work for us. Ernest Boyer distinguished 4 kinds of research. He calls them scholarship. The scholarship of discovery, new knowledge, this is what Archer referred to. The scholarship of application. It's not really a new knowledge, but an application of existing knowledge in a new way. And there's an application of existing knowledge in a new situation, which is called the scholarship of integration. And then the scholarship of teaching, which is very close to my heart, which means that it acknowledges how important the process of education is for the discipline, the good of the discipline. I think that this is, of course, these are definitions of general definitions of research. If you start thinking about what would be the description for our definition of design research, I think that it's obvious that design often demands knowledge that does not yet exist. So we have the scholarship of discovery. Design is a system that interfaces with other systems. In my opinion, by which we have the scholarship of application or integration. Design is a cross-disciplinary, and by its very nature, and requires information from many disciplines that must be reconciled with design practice. So again, we have the scholarship of application. I moved scholarship of teaching to another page. I was looking through maybe 3 or 4 points of what I think are now the most important tasks for us educators. That we make the necessity of research clear to our students. Because if we fail, we'll be in trouble soon. We lose territory already. I'm talking about American education. Students of other disciplines take courses in information design, data visualization, in MBA programs. Statisticians do that. Even typography stuff. Typography, you know, the holy grail of graphic design. Stuff in other places. Do graphic design take classes in human factors? Or cognitive sciences? Or psychoanalysis? Only sporadically. These are the lines. And I don't want to read them. I'll leave them for a moment and we'll move on. I think they are self-explanatory. The curriculum of the Dynamic Media Institute has been a response to the shift in information technology and communication design, positioning itself vis-a-vis information technology. The idea was to bring the intellectual to design and at the same time to open up the curriculum of design and communication to the world outside. Established in 2000, the DMI is an MFA program in communication design at Massachusetts College of Art and Design in Boston. Mass Art, as we call it, established in 1873, was the first and remains the only freestanding public college of art and design in the US. I wanted to say that because we're very proud. We are focused on the future of dynamic media in communication design. If you don't like my nomenclature, replace dynamic media with new media and communication design with graphic design. We'll be on the same page. What is unique compared to other MFA programs in the US is that we do not have any problems accepting students from different backgrounds. Graphic designers and new media fine artists, architects and filmmakers, programmers and educators. Those who want to pursue a unique thesis vision through the rigorous practice of research, prototyping, and writing. Through reflective practice, the work culminates in a rich body of original work, practical work, and a comprehensive written thesis dissertation, usually 150-page or more book. The Institute publishes its own books, too. Every 5 years, we share with the world outside what we did. It was our first one in 2005, and we have another one in 2010. It's a combination of thesis topics and excerpts from dissertations, faculty essays, blah, blah, blah. It's available for download from our website. However, I think that during the workshop we broke the server, so I need to go back and fix it. Here's the hierarchy of concepts which describes the structure of our group, and at the same time, the areas of research. Going down the list, I would like to describe the territory of dynamic media and pedagogy as practiced at DMI. It represents the humanistic approach to the study and practice of dynamic media, with its central focus as the humanities on the creation and documentation of cultural artifacts. Those artifacts are human experiences, mediated, or perhaps the word would be curated, within the computational complexity of social communication. The beginning of information age was marked by a new concept of information as defined by mathematicians and computer scientists. They were trying to solve problems of sending and receiving messages. Information was abstracted and separated from the medium. Cybernetics, and in the interdisciplinary interdisciplinary approach to the study of systems and structure, information, born in the 40s, changed forever the way we live and communicate. Today, dynamic media designers must see the world as an information structure that communicates continuously and persistently. And that's why designers need to know about many different new elements, also theoretical elements of that problem. Communication is about understanding and therefore learning. Learning and knowledge is a result of a communication process, and that can be completed by an individual brain. Don't fool yourself. The designer can help, but cannot complete this process for the learner. That's why studying communication models is so great, especially bringing back to the field of research, narrative, our ability to create stories, a powerful primordial communication model, modified and adopted to various channels and tools of communication. When you tell, what you tell, how you tell, what is the emotional level of the communication, where and when the poetic experience can spark. The topics, of course, connect to narratology, theory of information, and so on. Research in cognitive sciences is essential as well. We perceive the world as a multisensory experience, and even if our channel of communication is reduced to selective senses, we as humans will try to translate that into a full spectrum of multisensory experiences. Multiple senses and modalities correspond to the concept of multiple intelligences. In his book, Howard Gardner, Harvard professor, reviews several preferences in learning. He calls them intelligences. According to Gardner, an intelligence is the computational capacity to process a certain kind of information that originates in human biology and psychology. He distinguished that number and those kinds of intelligences. It's first, I'm following the first edition of his work. Now the number has changed a little bit. I have my proposition too. I think that mapping may be considered a form of a natural intelligence of a designer. Mapping seems to be a dynamic media designer's natural way of thinking. It is a unique cognitive skill of finding connections among things and making them visible to others who cannot see them without help. It requires both types of skills: the intellectual skill needed in research and theory, and the manual dexterity needed to translate concepts into visualizations. The word map, both as verb and noun, seems very appropriate to describe the essence of dynamic media. The process of mapping is the tool of both design in research and research in design. Mapping reveals relationship between elements, properties, concepts. Mapping creates associations between equivalent groups of qualities that are organized according to the rules of correspondence based on a particular system, which we suppose to design. It works very well, equal well, for our clients and ourselves as a tool of research. And what we see here is, I've selected the work of two students only. This is Caroline Horn, a German student who graduated in 2007. And I'm showing the exploratory projects where she was trying to come up with an idea for her thesis, and you will see how consistent those explorations are after a while. But really, we are talking about visual representation of information. Because under that medium, so to speak, that term, visual form making is, or the whole tradition of graphic design is hidden. Form making for communication designer and graphic designer is content making. We don't have to be authors to create content. We create that kind of content. Carolyn's first sketch was to figure out, she was always interested in natural metaphors for screen interfaces. This is a project of natural items in which system she devised is capable of indicating the age and size of document on screen. Oops. Okay, all right. We're going to skip a few things. I would like to move us toward motion. Again, different kind of Carolyn's investigation will be here. But I'd like to spend 3 minutes on motion, which is integral to design. The notion of time intertwined with motion is considered an organizing principle to which all other design elements must relate in our curriculum. Time and motion, which puts emphasis on forming rather than form, we consider as a language of communication. And that's why it's started so early. Carolyn designed this tool for her research of motion. This is the idea that instead of just mapping statically those icons, that maybe she can figure out a way of experiencing the motion. So as you see, there was research done on all parameters that variable of motion. And now she can control and see the results of certain shape moving quickly or jittery or otherwise. Well, when we talk about time and motion and narrative, obviously cinematic language comes to mind. It's 100 years history. Cinema has developed an amazing system of communication, universal almost. But what I would like to speed up the process a little bit and move to another project of Carolyn, because I think this is an interesting proposition of going further with her research toward the idea that after developing the tool for research of motion, maybe now she can control an interface in which motion is a meaningful component of how the icons move and mean something. This is the matrix she developed. Icons are different sizes, different speed of motion, indicating different meaning of it. Of course, it's user customizable. This is what you look at is Carolyn's inbox. These are animates indicating how many mails and from whom and what importance and how old they are in her inbox. I cannot show you too much of that. It's very interesting when we are starting browsing time differently, that we can remove or rather focus on either a few days, or a few weeks, or more to see certain patterns coming out of motion rather than traditional static investigation of mapping. She has also developed this tool for the user to customize motion of the microbe. Obviously, let's say, that's the metaphor, microbes. So, as you can see, it's done in processing, and you can easily decide how you want your icons of mail to move around. Now we are in the domain of interaction. Interaction, of course, requires investigation of interface. And Bill Verplank, in the book listed at the bottom of the screen, asked 3 absolutely brilliant fundamental questions about interface, which we all should consider. They are all how do you questions. How do you do, which means acting. What is the performance of the situation of interaction? And then when you act, you can use the button or use the handle. What do you feel? What is the feedback? How do you feel? And then finally, how do you know? How are you learning? How do you, the process of cognition happens and converting the data into information, into knowledge. Interface is usually a road to something. And other students, I would like to show you just 2 projects from Alison. So even if I have to eat up a little bit of time from the discussion, I think the second project is important. Alison is interested in narrative, participatory narrative, sometimes called interactive narrative. But she's interested in building things out of existing vocabulary of visual and 3-dimensional objects. She puts this electronics, very simple Arduino-based electronics, into found objects and creating very intriguing juxtapositions, which my computer shut down last night for 4 hours. All right, we move. I would like to see whether we have it or not. Okay, this is the object. Project Katowice. She has a real dream, which is with her forever. She found the content of her interaction, writing interaction with herself through the process of exploratory research. Then this is on display in the School of Psychoanalytics, Graduate School of Psychoanalytics in Boston. The feed of responses are based on time, the way the user opens the door, the way how long the user stands in front of the object, hesitating, and so on and so forth. It's never the same response. And I will conclude, understand it, right? With the final project of Alison, which is Whisker Organ. The project is an amazing example in which simple juxtaposition of gesture which is input and output, not matching at all, creates a third value of poetic experience. I think this movie is self-explanatory, so I'll show it. As I said, dynamic media designers see the world as information structure. Communication and learning are as inseparable from human experience as from time and motion. Even if we do not want to communicate, by not doing so, we communicate. You cannot not communicate. I wish it was my line, it was Paul Watson. But communication designers and researchers, and these two domains hopefully merge even closer these days, should learn, as producers and consumers, how to communicate more effectively in the language of dynamic media, and how to participate in the complexity of information in the world today, in learning and understanding before we vote, making informed decisions, articulating meaningful thoughts, creating, entertaining, telling stories, and most importantly, enjoy the experience of the above. Thank you.